Hi everybody, welcome to Willie's American Guitars. I just got back from a guitar show down in Arlington, Texas. And it's the last year it's going to be in Arlington. They're moving it to Mesquite, Texas. But we've got a bunch of stuff. Like, I just want to share this because I got one super interesting thing. And we've got, for instance, a Strat, original staggered magnets, single string tree, black. Black was a custom color till 74, right? So yeah, there's that. And then a nice 1963 Jazzmaster. But you're probably wondering why I gathered you here. This is something that's really neat, and this is something that came out in 1972. Gibson in 1972. Honestly, I was around back then, and they were the most unhip company in the world. And even after getting bought in the late 60s by a South American brewing company, they still really didn't get why people were buying old guitars. In 1972, you've got to remember, it just wasn't that you're only 14 years old from a 58 burst. These 1958 Sunburst Les Pauls, these 58 Sunbursts were just starting to go up in value in 72. Honestly, you could still find them for a few $100 in pawn shops. There was no internet. There was no books. There was no real magazines on that. Tom Wheeler wrote a book around there about how these are starting to become a thing. So, but they were. So what Gibson did in 72 is make this wraparound gold top. Now this is a copy of a 1954 wraparound Les Paul, which these days is one of the hottest guitars on the vintage market, raised in value by tremendously over COVID. And what's unique about this guitar is that it has a one-piece neck. By 72, they were all three-piece necks. It has a smaller headstock. By 72, they all had the bigger paddle headstocks. It has a one-piece body, and that is referring to the mahogany. By 72, they had this, they had a sandwich body for these. But for some reason, in 1972, they decided to go back and put on a one-piece huge neck for it's a totally different shape, and a smaller headstock, and the body. Now, they didn't do much to the logo, they didn't do much to a few other things, but still, they were trying to be hip. So what did they call this 1954 copy? They called it a 1958 standard reissue. Yes, they called it a Les Paul reissue 1958. That was the model name. Les Paul Standard 58. So here we go. We've got people in the factory making this stuff that are kind of hip to what's going on. And once again, we've got people up in the ivory tower that are clueless about their history. So somebody up in marketing upstairs named this a 58 reissue. Again, if it was, it would look like that guitar there, but it's not. It looks like this guitar here. So these are largely lost. This time period, in 72, they made the Les Paul custom with the Alnico pickup. They made the Medallion V, the Medallion Firebirds. Those were all really hip guitars and nods to their past. But this is just kind of a weird anomaly, and that whole thing of this disconnect between the office and marketing and the people down in the factory that they probably should have listened to. I'm talking to you, Fender. Okay, here we go. I will... These clean up really nice. These P90s are actually from this era. They play great. They will clean up. I'm going through a little Marshall 15 watt, the Studio 15, which by the way has a balanced out and a headphone jack. Yeah, that's a really cool amp. But they do clean up. Nice throaty, clean sound. Here, I'm going to turn this up a little bit for you. Whoops, turn this down too. And bridge pickup. And of course, once you dial these pickups up, they're famous for... These are really great investment grade guitars, and one of those guitars that's lost to the marketplace because you go around calling around asking for the 54 reissue from 72 and it's not showing up in any search engines. There's also not a lot of history. Gibson really didn't talk too much about this. They made a brochure for these models, but they didn't talk about this huge one-piece neck or the smaller headstock or the different woods or the fact that they went back to a wraparound. Are these parts from the old factory? Did they have bodies left over that they wanted to save? In 1957, they went from the P90s to the humbucking. Maybe they had some leftover bodies that were cut. Who knows? Maybe they had some leftover necks. Or maybe somebody downstairs in the shop who was kind of hip just went off on a tirade, but something got lost. So this is a classic example in the 70s, why a lot of us in the 70s were like, oh, geez, Gibson, what the heck? This, however, is a fabulous sounding guitar, and it's really clean, really clean. So I want to show you this because I just got back from Dallas, and I'm lacking sleep, and on that note, I am going to let you go while I go take a nap.